Black pudding, if you don't know what it is, it sounds very strange. Most food is not black, and if it is, it shouldn't be. Today we're unpacking British food and drink phrases that completely baffle visitors, Americans, including myself when I first got here over 20 years ago. If you're new here, my name is Lisa. I was born in the US, but I'm British by choice. I have Elizabeth helping me today. She's not real. I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth. I'm a representation of all the silly and endearing questions that Lisa has been asked by visitors over the years. Part 1, beverages and drink. What does it actually mean when someone says fancy a cuppa?
Okay, so I'm going to answer these questions. When somebody says that, it's basically asking, would you like a cup of tea? And a cuppa, in a lot of cases, doesn't actually genuinely mean tea. It could mean any beverage or water, or even if it's that time of day, a glass of wine or a gin, anything. Unless, of course, it's your builders, then I would just stick to hot drinks.
Why do Brits call soda a fizzy drink? And what counts as one?
Fizzy drink. That is the collective term for carbonated beverages. And I feel like I'm being quizzed, but I'm going to answer these in the way that I think that I understand them. And if I'm wrong, you can tell me in the comments. Most people don't hold back anyway. Okay, so fizzy drink is a soda, cans, I say tins, tinnies, that's something else. Cans of drink, so, like your usual Coke, Sprite, but also it can be like fizzy water, so carbonated water, and then sparkling water. I also can imagine, although I've not heard it this way, but maybe some people say it, but you have fizzy mixers, so
What's a cider in black? What's a snakebite? What's a snakebite in black?
So a cider in black definitely confused me at the start. It turns out that black is short for blackcurrant. I didn't know what the obsession was with blackcurrant, and then I realized that it's the sort of thing that it's probably the equivalent to grape in the US. For example, when you're a child, we had cough syrup that was either grape or cherry flavored, sometimes orange, but here it tends to be blackcurrant, orange. So the blackcurrant is not cough syrup. Oh my God, this is derailing quickly. It is cordial, which is another word. Oh God. It's a concentrated, fruity drink, and then it can be added to certain things to give it a nice flavor. So, cider and a bit of blackcurrant cordial. So you have basically kind of a blackcurrant cider. And then Elizabeth asked about Snakebite, and that's also something I haven't tried, but I will. And that is half lager and half cider mixed together. Sounds kind of interesting. And then the last one was Snakebite and black. So it's taking the blackcurrant and adding it to the Snakebite. I mean, it's probably pretty nice. I don't know if it would be the sort of thing you drink often.
What exactly is a shandy? And why do people drink it?
So Shandy, speaking of mixing things together, is half lager, half lemonade. And actually, I know that you can mix it with bitter, and I've tried both. I don't mind either, to be honest. Yeah. It's just a way of, if you want to just not get as boozed up, you can mix in some lemonade. And when I say lemonade, I of course mean things like Sprite, that kind of lemony lime. And yeah, why do people drink it? I think I answered that. A lager shandy is really nice and refreshing, if it's the middle of the day and it's hot out.
How can tea mean both a drink and your evening meal?
Tea is a drink, obviously. It's an evening meal. I think she also forgot to say that it can mean an afternoon occasion. So, tea is the beverage, but there's all these habits and rituals that have formed around it. I don't want to go into the long answer, but yeah, up north, a lot of people call their evening meal tea. And then there's afternoon tea, which I think most people are familiar with, but it tends to be more of occasion. If I've ever done afternoon tea, it's either been with a friend or a group of friends, with my mom. So that's very formal, or quite formal. And you're getting like stacks of cakes and things like that, sandwiches, and it is fun. It's definitely fun.
When someone says it's repeating on me, well, what are they talking about?
Again, this is a phrase I only heard in Britain, and I don't know, it could be elsewhere, but when I understand it now, it means like basically indigestion, maybe you're burping, you're tasting your food again. That's what I think it means. Charming. I'm curious what the most obscure phrase is, food or drink phrase, where you live, and why do you think it would confuse the visitors? And if you're not from Britain, then that's cool too. I'd still love to know.
Part 2, loo talk. Why does everyone keep nipping to the loo or popping to the loo?
Okay, nipping and popping are verbs. They are action words. Yeah, I think it's just a cute little casual way of saying you're going somewhere and you'll be right back. I can't think of a deeper meaning than that. Yeah, it's just, I'll be right back. Of course, the loo part, that just means going to the restroom. Or I like to say the ladies. I don't know, I will say toilet and I'll ask for that, but it does feel so raw compared to what you would say in the US, which is like the restroom, which also sort of doesn't make a ton of sense unless there's actually sofas in there, which you sometimes would get in some nicer restaurants, but I mean, that's not typical.
What on earth does spend a penny have to do with using the toilet?
Ah, yes. So, my former mother in law, love her, she is no longer with us, but she did grow up in an era where you would spend a penny, and that's literally how much it costs to pay to use the public toilets. And it just became a phrase.
Part 3, food words and menu surprises. What exactly is black pudding and why is it served at breakfast?
Well, I mean, black pudding, if you don't know what it is, it sounds very strange because most food is not black. And if it is, it shouldn't be. And pudding, of course, if you're from the US, means like this custardy, creamy treat. So we grew up with the Jello brand. Oh, Bill Cosby was the chief, like, face of the Jello brand and pudding. Okay, moving on. Okay, so what is black pudding? Okay, so forget about what Americans think it might be. Essentially, I do know it, and I actually really do love it. It is a type of blood pudding, and the dark color comes from the blood. And I'd have to look up the ingredients list. I don't think it's relevant right now. People should just try it if they're not a veggie. And, you might like it. But essentially, it's kind of a type of sausage. I think I said that already. But it's cut into little slices and it's cooked, fried, on both sides and served part of a cooked breakfast. The funny thing about it is it's not the sort of thing you would just get by itself. It's almost always accompanied with the cooked breakfast. And I don't know what that is. Like what? I mean, gosh, I think a black pudding sandwich could be kind of nice. Like if you instead of like a bacon bap or something, do like a black pudding bap with an egg. Hmm. I don't know. It must exist out there. As to why it's served at breakfast, I don't know. It's not really served at other times of the day. I haven't seen it anyway, so I guess the cynical part of me would be like if you were so starving at breakfast, you couldn't face it another time of day, but I actually really like it. I think black pudding is a little bit like Marmite of the breakfast foods, like you either love it or hate it.
What's a sarnie?
A sarnie is, well, a sarnie is a sandwich. It's just a shortened way of saying it. Well, isn't really, you're not really saving any syllables. No, you're not. Oh, it's like a sando, And if you're in Australia, a sando. Sorry. I guess it's like the sando in Japan or the sanga in Australia. I don't know if I've said that right.
Why are there meal deals in every supermarket and even Boots?
Gosh, why are there meal deals? I mean, well, they're convenient, very convenient. If you don't have time to sit down or you don't want to just, get hot takeaway food, grabbing a sandwich, a drink, and a snack makes tons of sense. And what I like about it now is it's not just sandwiches. You can also grab salads and there's other wraps or sushi or anything. So you just choose your main, choose your snack, choose your drink. Kind of brilliant, really. I think it is interesting how it's spread now because, I think of Boots, which is a pharmacy, and they sell things like shampoo and, I don't know, makeup, but they also have a section where it's like food, like, well, sandwiches and snacks and drinks. But yeah, it's very convenient.
What's a jacket potato? Tuna and sweet corn, really?
So, jacket potato. Well, jacket potatoes are vastly underrated. I think, yeah, it's very similar to what we would call a baked potato. But what I like about a jacket potato is they're a food that you can get as takeaway a lot of times. especially from burger vans or, well, I don't know where else you would get takeaway jacket potato, but they're so good. And the fillings are things like traditional things like beans, but at the same time, I have seen tuna and sweet corn, which is a very strange combination to people outside of Britain, I think. Tuna and sweet corn, it does seem to go together. I mean, in the States, we would have usually like some kind of celery with our tuna just to give it a little bit of a difference in texture.
What are puddings?
So, as we talked about before, blood pudding is not a pudding. Oh gosh. Okay, well, I think the connection here is that puddings are steamed, and it is quite possible that blood pudding was originally steamed when it was cooked, made and then put into a bowl and steamed over hot boiling water. And maybe that's the connection. I feel like I'm gonna get ripped to shreds if, well, okay. You'll let me know, but nicely, right? So steamed puddings aren't actually that common anymore. Somehow, puddings became a more catch-all term for desserts, although sometimes I hear afters.
Why don't you see spotted dick everywhere?
I don't want to say the other answer I had in mind. Well, it's a steamed pudding, and they're just not that popular. I have seen them in the supermarket.
Does it get confusing? Remember crisps instead of chips and chips instead of fries?
Does it get confusing? No, not anymore. I don't think so. I get more confused when I go back. Actually, no. Chips is easy to remember when I'm back in the States. Here, yeah, I think that one's okay. I do get messed up though on the fries because I'll say chips over there, so everything's chips.
Wait, do people really eat pigeon here?
This one came from my mom. She was like, there's pigeon on the menu. She was really like horrified. For a lot of people, when they think of pigeon, they think of sky rats in Times Square or someplace like that. And of course, they're this bird that picks through garbage. So I had to explain it's not street pigeon, not urban pigeon. It's a wood pigeon or some other type of wild pigeon. So not the same thing. And yeah, people eat it here. I don't think it's my favorite. So thank you, Elizabeth. So those are just a few of the food and drink phrases that have thrown me and visitors off when we first got here. If you enjoyed this, I have a whole series. If you enjoyed this, I can do it again. There's obviously lots of categories of confusing phrases. So I'm happy to go through those. I think the next one I want to do is British insults and rude phrases. And there's some things that don't sound rude but actually are. And things that sound rude that aren't. So that could be fun. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna apologize. I haven't been able to make some video content lately. I probably could do another more serious video about why. And maybe I will, but I just wanted to record something fun first. So thank you. See you next time.